So hey guys, God bless you. So today we are on episode 6 of the Agios Paisios Orthodox podcast, and we will be talking about what we should think about Israel. Are they really the chosen ones? Because these days there's a lot of people in the news talking about Israel. Who should we support and who should we what should we think about this topic? So, firstly, Israel is the chosen land of God, and it's true. It's true that it's the chosen land because many of the miracles happened there in the surrounding area. But there's a difference between modern Israel and today's Israel, and I'll talk about it. This is what, firstly, modern Protestant people, Catholic people, are kind of similar to Orthodox, but I'm not really sure if what they think. But I don't think they agree with Protestants. Or maybe they're more on between Protestant and Orthodox because, well, in reality, they're kind of like that, traditional and traditional and more modern, like Protestant. But I know what the Protestant people think from online videos and things, and I know especially American Protestants, they think that Israel is the chosen land. They have a right and to have it, and they have a right to attack anyone that is against them because God chose them, and especially these days it's controversial because of their ideology, Zionism, that owns the world's banks, and the evil people, but they think they have a right to own it, and they think God gave them all of this. Well, who is God? Allah? God isn't Allah. He doesn't give people the right to do violence. Israel is very much different from the old Israel, because the old Israel was how the Orthodox is today, churches today, which is what the Orthodox people believe. The Orthodox people believe that the old Israel got incorporated into the new. The old Israel got incorporated after the transition, after Jesus died, and then his church lived on and became a one true church that was very similar to today's Orthodox Church. It was the Orthodox Church, so you don't get confused. And then, but that one true church later kept the traditions and going straight, and then for a few hundred years, and then it went straight with its traditions for a few hundred years, I think. And then in the early Christian Roman Empire, what happened was the church split into. Sorry about that little interruption back there. But anyways, in the early after Jesus died, and when the church was going on without him, establishing itself without him, in the early church for a few hundred years until in the early Roman Empire, when it was establishing itself. It was one true church for I think around a few hundred years until 1000, like 10 AD something, I think, and then the Catholic people introduced the Catholic side, the more modern side. It was one church, and then the church side that would later become Catholic, and who said we disagree with keeping these traditions. We want filioque, and the Son. The Father, Son are more important than the Spirit. Basically, they think that there's the Son is it's like two different people, Father and the Spirit. The filioque is a bit complicated, but basically I think what they're talking about, because I don't know a lot about Catholic, how they think, but I think that it's more like Father and Son are one and Holy Spirit is something different, but it's not equal balance. It's like Spirit at the top and then Son and Father, Son, Holy Spirit. And it's been like this for like a long time, since Jesus made the church, and then until a few hundred years later after they split. And then when they wanted to split a few hundred years later and they became the Catholic Church, a more progressive church, they said Father, Son, boing, 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 boing. They're connected. They're more connected. If you see on diagrams of the filioque where there's a line between two, it's a bit outlined, the line between Father and Son. It's a little problem between them, and then the Holy Spirit is the common Orthodox and Catholic people have that in common, but the Father and the Son is the problem. And they introduced that heresy, probably the first heresy, and then they introduced the rosary, which is, for a long time I didn't know what it was, and then I watched an Orthodox video that explained that it was for forgiveness from Mary and that. And then it was the selling indulgences in the purgatory. It was all, they didn't want to go to hell, so they made up this place called purgatory. I'm not really sure if the Orthodox, maybe in the Orthodox Church they have something similar. They probably did in the early church, but I don't know. But the Catholic Church is more of that, of you're not going to hell if there's an alternative. Meanwhile, in the Orthodox Church, it's like this, either this or like this. No switching traditions, buddy. You can't switch traditions every few hundred years. But the Catholics are more like this. But if you pray to Mary with a rosary, it's basically a prayer rope. If you don't know what it is, but for Mary, not Jesus prayer, it's the Mary prayer. And it's okay. She's a very important person in the Bible, and yes, she's a very important person in history, basically. Yeah, but it's not. They want to pray to her, and the purgatory and the selling indulgences that got stopped because people were because they were selling too many, and it was kind of seen like a scandal. But they're trying to make it softer, soften the message that you're going to hell if you do a mistake, which is bad, because they're trying to put another option on the table. It's either this or that, or in the middle, purgatory, if you still can't choose what to do in your life and it's not what God wants. If you die and you're not sure, you can go to purgatory. And if you've been an okay person, if you prayed the rosary, it's a bit if indulgences, it's all of this is like trying to make you, it's like to soften that, not to help you not go to hell. I don't know a lot, it's kind of confusing, but it seems like they want to add another option of heaven, hell, which is purgatory and rosary and all of this filioque in the middle, which is very unpure and heretical to me, and didn't exist in the early church. That's why I think that the Orthodox Church is the right one. Also, this Pope person, the Pope, Jesus said to Peter, he gave the keys. But to the church, I think yes. I don't know a lot about this because I read the Bible and all of this, but not too informed about this. But did give the keys to Peter, but he didn't literally say. He said to gatekeep the church, but not literally, not to gatekeep it like what they're doing now. Now what they're doing is saying if you're not in the Catholic Church, you're going to hell, which is heresy. Because firstly, the Catholic Church isn't Christianity, only Christianity, anything against, that's what they believe. Anyone against, outside that's not Catholic will go to hell, which is very, very heretical. Jesus didn't believe that. Protestant people, they're doing a good job as much as I don't agree with them with some things. They're doing a very good job at spreading things around. They did a good job at spreading the message. And then there was, what was there? Yes, they're doing a good job with the Protestants, with spreading the religion around, the faith around. And the Catholics, they're not as good as they say they are. They have problems, so they can't say that. But they're not. There are some traditional Catholics, and they're not all fanatics and crazy like some are. But the Orthodox Church is the best because they keep their traditions, and I encourage people to convert to them. Even if you're Eastern or Oriental Orthodox, or a non-Nestorian Church of the East. Non-Nestorian, we don't like Nestorian, they're heretical, just like the Pope thing, just like the Catholic Church is very heretical. The Nestorian Church of the East is very heretical. Non-Nestorian churches, they're also good. But yes, also the Pope isn't Jesus, but they pretend he's Jesus, and they gatekeep the church. They pretend that everything is centered around the Catholic Church, which is very, very wrong because they can't marry. And that's bad because you don't know what family is, and then they end up raping kids and doing all these bad things and scandals because they're not married and they don't have that family side. Unlike the many Orthodox priests, also they can't get married. They have to get married before ordained, before becoming a priest. So it's not that simple. It's still strict in Orthodox Church, traditional, but different from the Catholic Church. And it's actually a good thing that I'm a part of the Catholic Church, because all Catholic Church claims it's the true church. They have many mistakes though, but they also say that if you're not a part of them, that you'll go to hell, which is wrong. Which is wrong to say that, because they're not only the one that encouraged splitting the church up with their filioque thing, and many times they split up the church with different things like the rosary or indulgences or something, and they slavery, and they said when they went to the Americas and the Protestants did things with slavery, and they changed the church, Catholics and Protestants. They also say if you're not a part of the church, the Catholic Church, that you're going to hell. Not only are they wrong, they also gatekeep the church and say that you're going to hell if you're not a part of them. Very rude, very, yes, not good. But the Orthodox people are more than welcome. You're more than welcome to come to the Orthodox Church. You might get some people looking at you because you're not common in the church, especially if you're from, I don't know, an African or Asian person in a Greek church. It might be a bit weird for them, but you'll get used to it over time. They're just curious, and they would be more than happy, more than excited to have you in their church. So yes. And now the Catholic people and Protestant people have good sides. Like some Catholic people, a lot of them are really kind of really traditional, and that's good that they keep their traditions. Some Protestant people, even though they're not traditional, they spread it. But they spread the faith. But the true church is the Orthodox Church, or encourage people to convert to them. And the Oriental Orthodox is an okay church too. I don't really mind them either. And the but let's continue some about our main topic. We went kind of off topic. Why Israel? What's Israel? What's your opinion on Israel? Well, Israel is not really it's Zionist to date. It was created by nationalists, and even though it was created by nationalists today, in the 18th, in the yes, the more, even though you might think the modern Israel is the same as the ancient Israel, like some people think, the the ancient Israel is the Orthodox people believe that it's not. You have to be fair between Israel, the modern Israel, and the Palestine that exists. So with the issue there, and you have to be balanced. That's how they always were. And the ecumenical patriarch, as much as I think he's corrupt and everything, I agree with him, because that's what the Orthodox people, the church believes historically. You have to be balanced between both sides and support the people, not nationalist or anything. Support the people. That's what God says. You have to. That's what the Bible says, and everyone says. In the church fathers and the people say. The message is to support not one side or the other, both sides, and be even and equal. Now, this ancient Israel has got incorporated. The Orthodox people believe that they are the ancient Israel with their traditions and things, because the ancient Israel was Jewish, and God didn't agree with the Jewish people because Christian and Jewish, as much as they're similar, Judaism and Christianity, they're not the same. So he came because he chose that land for a reason. I'm not sure why, because I'm not that informed and I don't know that much about it, but I know he chose it because he wanted to choose that land, and he helped them become more Christian and save them, and then slowly expanded with the New Testament for Gentiles to read. People that weren't Jewish and chosen people to read. He expanded it with the New Testament in Greek, so it could, because Greek was the national language, like English is today. It was back then the international language. So he wrote it in Greek so more people could read it and save more people. And yes, but that church, after it was people saved in Israel, that it got in, and Jesus was crucified on a cross. What happened was that became morphed. It became into a united church, and then it split up a few hundred years later. And Orthodox Church and Catholic Church. The Catholic Church claims that it's the true church, even though it's changed the church canon laws like a few hundred times or more. But in the Orthodox Church has images. When I went inside the Catholic Church once, or I've seen videos or images. When I went inside the Catholic Church once or twice, I think. Sometimes, a couple times, when I went inside and saw pictures and videos from the internet, I thought this is shocking. And Protestant churches were worse because they were all modern without images, but the Catholic churches were cement and nice architecture, but they didn't have the images. The sanctuary was the iconos iconostasis was where the icons, it hides the sanctuary where the priests and people are inside. It was open, it was like a museum, it has like a museum around the walls, and it was kind of like a, here in Australia, St. Paul's Cathedral, St. Patrick's. St. Patrick's had a Eastern Orthodox Virgin Mary icon, maybe gifted to them by a church, an Orthodox church, but it wasn't too bad. But St. Paul's, oh, that was like a museum. It has like a museum around the back of the sanctuary, where you walk around the sanctuary. In a Catholic church, it's open. We walked around, and there was like a information about the church, but the church is not a museum for the tourists from Asia, the Chinese tourists, and other tourists to come, because Australia gets a lot of Asian tourists. They don't come to see the church like a museum. They come to see the church as a church. That's why I think it's bad, and it's not good to have it like that. It's not bad, but it's not good to make it a museum church. It should be like the Hagia Sophia. It wasn't a proper church because it was a mosque and it's occupied, but this is a proper working church. It should be. Anyways, the Orthodox churches have icons, and they have hidden sanctuaries with iconostasis, and they have saints, and they're very detailed. They don't paint their saints like. Also, they don't paint their saints like in 3D, like people in 2D, not like cartoon character 2D, like nice 2D with gold sheeting and egg whites and natural natural ingredients and good quality icons, but they don't look like paintings. They look like they came out of an ancient church, but they're 2D, not like a painting. It's spiritual icon, and that's how it should be, I think. And that's why I agree with Orthodox people, not only because I'm Orthodox, because I agree with them, because they keep a lot of the traditions of ancient Israel, and I agree that they are the ancient Israel. I disagree that the modern Jewish Israel, which they claim to be the ancient Israel, which they are Zionists today, and they claim that they are in the ancient land of Israel, which I'll tell you why that's not good. Because for Christian people, the only similarity that we can agree with them, the Zionists, is that Jesus lived in the ancient land of Israel, but it was a Jewish state. And they weren't very friendly to other people. It was Jewish, like the Pharisees. They were hypocrites, and they were, you know how some Jewish people can be. They can be rude. They weren't very kind to other people. That's all I will say. Yes, the ancient Israel wasn't very accepting of Christians, like the Pharisees that questioned Jesus, and they were a bit fishy about that. They didn't really like him, and they crucified him as well. He wasn't loved as much as you might think. It's like today in modern Israel, that's Zionist. They want to copy that. There's the ancient Israel that's a fully Jewish, but they pretend to like Christians, and they accept them. Like they didn't hate them in the ancient times. They accepted them. They just didn't love them. And maybe they were they discriminated against Christians, maybe in the ancient Israel, because that's how the old times were. In the modern Israel, I've seen nuns and priests and pilgrims being spat at, and it's not nice. And they're not as innocent as you think. They don't want to copy the Christian ancient Israel. They want to copy the Jewish ancient Israel. That's what Zionism is, to make Israel a Jewish state. they could have, after World War II, made a state in Kenya, like they said, or if it was too tropical, somewhere. Well, they wanted to make one in Russia, but that was a bit boggy and swampy. But they could have supported them to live in their hometowns and cities in Europe and where they came from. They could have made somewhere an ancient and modern day Israel, in Israel, but without the Zionist part, like two-state solution. Without Zionism, the Palestinians wouldn't have rose up, because their people wouldn't have got killed and slaughtered in the Nakba of 1947. And yes, they could have found some more alternative solutions, like, I don't know, a state in Poland, and like a Vatican, a Jewish Vatican, or because a lot of Jewish people came from Poland, I don't know, something, but not how they did it. What they did was wrong. Doing ancient Israel was, they didn't hate Jesus and Christians, but they're not as innocent as you think. They discriminated against them, and I'm not really sure of what happened there, but I'm sure it wasn't as innocent as people think. That they accepted them 100% from the start. They were discriminating against them. That's why he was crucified. Even though it was the Romans, they still weren't very happy about Christians. It was a Jewish country, and he came in to save them, and they didn't like that he was saving them because they wanted their ways. That's how they wanted the Jewish country. The modern Israel is like that, with their in the 1800s, in the 19th century, a Zionist, I think Herschel was the name, that the person that founded Zionism. It's like Nazism, nationalism, and Jesus says no, he doesn't. The church and Jesus, they don't support nationalism. They're fully against it. They support equality, and they support everyone's happiness and peace and all of this, but not nationalism. That's Islam's thing. Yes. So you shouldn't support Israel as like you support. You should support the people of the Christians in Israel, and the people of Israel, and the population, the good people that support Christians, and the good population, and of both countries, Israel and Palestine, and be balanced. Turkey, even though I'm Greek, I kind of hated them at the start before a month ago, or before September, when I went to Greece and became more spiritual. I was like any other people, I hated Turkey because they kept attacking Greece, but now I realize you have to love your enemy. You have to not eye for an eye, like the Quran says. Like the Quran. I read the Quran, to see what it's about. Don't worry. I just read it. I know I'm not converting, nothing like that, but I just want to read what it's about, because I know on the internet other people do it. And it's kind of, it's popular to learn about your enemy, about the person that you're going against, that's against you, and they believe there's a different God. So I want to see what their God was about. Yesterday and the day before I read it, the two pages of it, I think 2 chapters, and it says, assault your enemy like he assaulted you, and it says something about you can divorce them up to 2 times, maybe 3 times, and animal sacrifices and whatnot. Confusing. I'm not sure a lot how things like that work. I'm not Muslim, but that's definitely not Christian, and that's very pagan, the way that works. And I can see why people say we have to love Muslims, even though they're wrong. But they're good people, and they have the Arabic personality of loving everyone. It's not the Muslim personality. It's the Arabic one. If you say Allahu Akbar, it's not a terrorist thing. That's what the Americans say, what Western countries say. It's saying God is great. It's an Arabic thing. You can say that for Jesus. You can say Allahu Akbar. You can say Jesus is great. Isa is Jesus in Arabic. Allahu Akbar Isa. That means Jesus is great, I think. I don't know how. I know those words, so I don't know if I'm 100% correct. But you know what I'm trying to say. Yes, mashallah is relating to God. I forgot what it means, but it's not a Muslim thing. It's an Arabic thing. So we have to get our heads out of the sand and out of it's Muslim sand and into the air, it's Arabic. It's an Arabic thing. Into the think like that. Because we're encouraging people to think that it's Muslim and it's normal. No, it's not. It's not normal. It's not only Muslim. We're discriminating against the Christian Arabic people that use that as well. So, we're making bad stereotypes about Arab people. So yes, and that's why I think that the ancient Israel is the Orthodox Israel, because Jesus doesn't support. He didn't pick the Jewish Israel. He didn't say, "Oh, here's a land. I love Jewish people. I'll pick them to sponsor them and teach them about what I believe." Well, he did say that, but he didn't say, "I love Israel and I love the Jewish religion. They are my best friends forever and ever. They can do whatever they like and crush the enemy's head." Or they can crush the enemy's head like it's Satan. No, that's pure Allah stuff. He didn't pick them because they were Jewish. He picked them to teach them, to save them. They did just as much sin as other countries did, but he picked them for a starting point. And later it became his church. It became his church, and then it split, and the Orthodox Church kept the traditions. It kept the traditions, and the Catholic Church changed them. And the Orthodox Church became the ancient Israel, the ancient Christian Israel that Jesus was talking to the people of Israel and converting them to be Christian and saving them. That became into the ancient Israel, the Orthodox Church, with their traditions and everything. And the modern Israel became the Zionism, is like Nazism, the nationalists, Jewish nationalists. They don't want to bring back. Even though they might be tolerating Christians, they were the ancient Israel, the Jewish Israel before, when Jesus came to the land. They were also tolerating him, but they might have been discriminating against the Christians. Doesn't mean they have to love them. The population can discriminate against Christians. They were accepting them, and they were letting Jesus speak, but they were discriminating against Christians at that time. Remember that. They were used to a Jewish state, and then he came to teach them the truth, and they didn't want to hear the truth. They wanted a Jewish state. And not everything is as simple as you think. I don't know a lot about this, but I surely know that they didn't accept him from day one, like many Protestants say. I know that they didn't accept him from day one. So yes, it's not like how the Protestants say that the chosen land of Israel they accepted him from day one and they have a right to do whatever they want. No, that's the vibe that they give me, the Protestant people, and that's not true. The true Israel is the ancient Israel that's inside the Orthodox Church, the traditions of the Orthodox Church. And it's dangerous to think like that, like how people think, like how many people think that because they're supporting genocide against the Palestinians aren't innocent either. I don't supporting Hamas over Israel. I support the people of Palestine, and I support them getting freedom, for Palestine getting freedom, and the UN they voted to make a Palestinian state. Even let's hope Israel and the US and Western countries that voted against it, they don't veto it, because we know that the dictatorship known as the US and Israel, which will be judged in the end of times if they don't change the government, or no, they will be definitely judged in the end of times for what they did, because I'm very not want to judge them, but I am saying the truth. They did some very horrible things. Killed many people in Gaza, the West Bank, occupied West Bank, used starvation as a weapon in Gaza. They bombed the heck out of Lebanon. They have been illegally occupying, even though the UN approved of it. They illegally occupied Syria's Golan Heights, but that was legal, the UN says, because of a statement that they signed, an agreement, and then they breached the agreement. Whichever one agrees that is illegal, and which is illegal, they breach. And now, because Israel owns the World Bank and Zionists everywhere, and Israel, Jewish Nazis, Jewish Zionist national Nazis that own the World Bank and the world, they won't sanction them, but they'll keep dragging their feet, because the Mossad is everywhere. So basically, yes, we need to stand up to Israel, because they are a bully. They have there's videos of them spitting on pilgrims in Jerusalem, on priests, nuns, Christians, murdering and raping innocent Muslims and Christians. The Palestinians are the ones that kept the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the keys of them, and took care of them, for the Arabs gave them the keys a few hundred years ago, and they've been taking care of it, not the Israelis, the Arabs. We have a lot to think about, because then Arabs aren't terrorists. they have saved many important things that Israel they have saved helped Christians in many times, like in Iraq and Iran. There's Orthodox churches in Iran, Greek Orthodox Church in Tehran. Google it. I think St. Catherine's or St. Hagia Kyriaki or something. But there's churches, Armenian, Greek churches, Orthodox Armenian and Orthodox Greek churches in Iran, Tehran, Iraq. So yes, that's good. And the Arabs and the Persians, they're not enemies, they're helpers. And Israel they don't want to establish a Christian ancient kingdom of Israel, like the Crusades wanted. Also the Crusades, the Arabs sacked Constantinople. That's a whole different story. They're not innocent either. Just as the Byzantines allied the Muslims, the Turks, against the Catholics, because the Latin Empire was attacking them one end and they didn't know who to the Muslims the other, and they didn't know who to support. The Muslims were strong and they didn't like they were helping them and they were friendly to them too. They worked together against the Pope that betrayed them. And also the Ottoman Empire they protected Mount Athos. They weren't as horrible as you might think, the Ottomans. But anyways, yes. Also, the Israel isn't as innocent as you think. They don't want. When Zionism was created in the 19th century, the 1800s, by Herschel, I think, someone called Herschel, it wasn't created for a Christian Israel. It was created for a Jewish nationalist state. A Jewish nationalist state. It was created, and many people don't get that. And now they're supporting a Jewish country, even though they're Christian. A country that wants only Jewish people. They don't support they're not that tolerant of Christians if you think about it. They've destroyed this third oldest and most important, the third oldest Orthodox Church, Greek Orthodox Church, which was in Gaza. They destroyed mosques, they destroyed historic buildings, churches, they destroyed whole cities. They are Jewish. We should support the Orthodox Church that kept the traditions, and they are the true Israel. Not the Israel that was before Christ, that wasn't Jewish, that wasn't Christian, that was Jewish. We shouldn't support that because it was the historical area. We should support the church that Christ founded. That's the Orthodox Church. We should all become or encourage more orthodoxy in this world, because that's the true Israel. They are the chosen ones. Putin is sent down by God to protect us. Holy Russia, there's a prophecy that says after Syria goes into chaos and the Middle East is in chaos and Iran's nuclear sites are bombed, missiles launched at them by Israel and destroyed, then there will be World War III, and at that same time, I don't know which one will come before or after. I think this might come before the Iran prophecy. Erdogan will be replaced, and now that Israel, even though they funded Erdogan, they regret it. Even America and Israel and Turkey, they work together to take down Syria and Assad. now Erdogan turned on Russia and Iran, but removing their ally. They turned on America and Israel and the West by and NATO by they want to attack Israel, the rebels, and they're also not very pro-Iran, even though there might be friendly ties. They also have friendly ties with Israel and America, just like Turkey is a balance between two. But yes, just like Turkey is balanced between West and East, Russia and America, so are the rebels. So we shouldn't trust them. And now both sides don't like Turkey. Erdogan will get toppled. CIA will put a pro-American president that, even though Erdogan threatens to attack Greece, he never attacks them. He's actually the best option for us because he's peaceful. Even though he threatens to attack, he never attacks because he all talk, no action, which is good for Greece because the next one will be all action and it'll be pro-America and heretical. It'll be heretical, the pro-American heretical president of Turkey. He will be a lot worse for heretic. He'll be bad for Greece. The worst thing that happened to them in decades, like the Cyprus thing. NATO allowed that Cyprus thing to happen. The Cyprus invasion of 1973. They allowed it because they didn't like that Cyprus was getting their independence from England and UK and England. So they allowed that to happen. You see the trend here. It's dangerous to be America's enemy, but more dangerous to be America's friend, like a quote said. So yes, and the person that comes after Erdogan will be worse, the prophecy says. So we should listen to that. And then they'll attack Greece. Israel will go crazy and attack Iran. I don't know if there's a regime change or anything, but Russia will come in the war. Iran, third world, the war. Greece will be protected because it's an Orthodox country. It's the old Israel. And the Russia are the chosen one, the protector of Orthodoxy, and the chosen country will be protected by God. And they'll protect Greece and they will protect Greece by fighting Turkey and indirectly helping Greece rebuild their empire and Megali idea. 80 years, 100 years late, I think, because in the 1920s Venezuelans want to retake Constantinople. In a few years, or next year, or I don't know what years, soon they will retake it. Indirectly, Russia will help Greece invade Turkey. They will defend because they're not the strongest country, even though they'll have strength from God. They're the chosen ones because they're Orthodox. They're true Orthodox country. They're a true Orthodox country. So they're the chosen ones because they're true Christian, but they're weak, so they'll just defend, and then they might come in at the last moment to they might come at the last moment to help Russia, maybe, I don't know, but they will take Constantinople, even though there might be a starvation crisis, a famine in Greece, and they might face some troubles. They will be protected by God, that's all I can tell you. And Russia will be protected, all the Orthodox countries, if they side with Russia. Unfortunately, Romania, Bulgaria, Georgia, Scandinavia will be destroyed because they'll think they're okay with NATO and America and the Antichrist. We're not talking about the Antichrist, the true Antichrist. Well, that'll come later. We're talking about the evil countries. They'll side with evil countries, America, NATO, and them. And then, after they get defeated, China will become the new Antichrist after America, because America and its allies will lose. And things so bad will happen to America for what they did over the years. Punishment so bad that you'll cry for them, pray for them. So yes, you have to be careful. And then you have to be careful with what you say in this world, because if you're against God, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, but if you're against God, fortunately, He sees this. Unfortunately for you, if you're against Him, you deal the penalty. So, the next Antichrist will be China, and then the Antichrist 3 days of darkness thing will start. And yes, the Antichrist, the 3 days of darkness, it'll start from there. And Metropolitan Neofytos of Cyprus, which I'll put in the description down there, and some other people, priests and monks that have an Agios Paisios, and people, and they prophesied about this happening. So they respected Orthodox monks and priests and people, and Uncreated Light press, the channel that talks about things like this, prophecies and things, which I'll put down in the description. They talk about this. So yes, that's the prophecies. In the past I've seen spirits, good and bad, but I don't want anyone to go through what I went through and see spirits. The spirits I saw, they were scary, even though I was young, like some years ago. But before COVID, this was mostly the seeing spirits in the old houses we stayed at, we rented out. But it's scary, but I learned that I know things about the spiritual world, and before we went to Greece, I had a feeling that something would happen in October, and something did happen in October. While we were flying over this, under Iran, and if you see the map, under Tehran in Iran, a little bit under it in the Google Maps, we were flying over there. They were launching nukes around in October 2nd, October 2nd, I think, yes. So I guessed, and then that's from this October 2nd, 2024, and I guessed that before our holiday. I had a feeling, and now I have a feeling that 2025, after 2-3 years of peace, since 2022, 2023, 2024, which were years of peace, instability since the crazy COVID dictatorship dystopian times. The after the peace there will be war and chaos, I guess. I predict. So prep up, be prepared, get supplies. Don't panic if you don't have to, just get supplies enough for a couple of months in your closets, in your house, in your pantries. Get flashlights, get batteries, things like that. Get seeds, make an evacuation plan. If I need to, we have people we know in Greece, we can go to them to not be locked up in this prison island known as Australia. Because if we're like in the lockdown, we were locked up here. It was like an experimental lab. We were separated from everyone by sea. Australians, they were made to be a prison. They were meant to be a prison for the English. So yes, they don't be. We have connections to Greece with people that we know in Greece, so we have options to go there. But make your escape plans and plans for the next year and New Year's resolutions. New Year's resolutions. And yes, it's not every year that you plan for a third world war, but Christ is coming, even though it's sad that it's sad. Yeah, after years of peace there was war and he collapsed. But hey, if he collapsed so fast, that tells you something. It was meant to happen. He was meant to give up. He was meant to give power and chaos was meant to happen. So the next part of the prophecies can start. And Jesus is coming back. Remember that. He'll judge us, me, you, and everyone. So we have to be good. We have to be prepared and pray and stick to being, you have to be prepared. And remember, Jesus is coming back. The end of times, and we have to pray, be faithful to our faith. And yes. And don't think that because the ancient Israel was where God lived, it's holy. That's not a good way to think. The ancient church is the Orthodox church. The ancient Israel is the Orthodox church. The modern Israel, God might support them because they're the chosen land, the holy land. He might give them support against enemies, and like countries like Russia that support Orthodoxy, they're chosen. Russia is chosen to help the Orthodox Christians, and he might help them maybe because the Bible has hints that it will help Israel against evil countries, and if there could be a chance that maybe if Netanyahu gets removed and they become more friendly and more Christian, hopefully God will help them. But yes, let's hope that Israel changes and that God can help them. But so we talked about what we should think about the true Israel and about prophecies, and I hope you stay safe and have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. I hope you enjoyed my video. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and check out my Rumble video channel, my because Rumble is also a good alternative if YouTube gets censored. We might have access to them for a while until the internet completely gets censored. If they do that, Rumble will be available for a while, so yes, they're a good option for us. I don't know if the internet will get censored or not, but Rumble is good if YouTube gets censored. So check out my Rumble channel. Check out Uncreated Light Press and for prophecies. Be prepared for the future and for the chaos that's about to come up. Between I predict March to October will be pretty. The chaos will begin around there, I predict. But yes, hopefully we'll be prepared for that. But yes, it's a prophecy, so sadly it'll happen. And I hope it doesn't happen, and we can make the prophecy fulfill it, but in a more peaceful way. And God, but it has to happen. So sadly, to make history, to make God, Jesus return for a second time, the second coming. And I hope you're prepared, and God helps us. God bless us. And yes, I hope you go and check out my Rumble channel, and the Uncreated Light Press on YouTube, and if they have one on Instagram, if they have one on Rumble, you can check out Uncreated Light Press on Rumble. Maybe if they have one on Instagram, I don't know about that, but they might have one on Rumble, a channel on Rumble, Uncreated Light Press with the prophecies. Metropolitan Neofytos of Cyprus and Agios Paisios. They're good for prophecies. Oh, look, cockatoos. We're in Australia. Australian summers are full of these things, cockatoos. And check out on YouTube. I think they have more channels. Noisy. Yes. Check out Patristic, Nectar. Patristic, Nectar, and Orthodox Ethos are two Orthodox channels in YouTube, but I think they might have. Orthodox Ethos does have a Rumble account, a Rumble channel. Patristic Nectar, another. I think Kyle is another Orthodox channel on YouTube. That's another Orthodox channels on YouTube. They might have channels on the Rumble. But yes, I hope you enjoyed the video. So please subscribe, like, share, comment, and I hope you have a nice day and stay blessed. God bless you. Goodbye.